Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to kick off something that I think will be really fun on the channel over the next couple of weeks and months. I'm really looking forward to this sort of mini-series that we're going to do, if you like. So for this review we are going to return to Finland, and as I've told you before, Finnish craft beer is ridiculously difficult to get a hold of, and that's, for a multitude of reasons. I've talked about this before. Their own laws were very, very strict. It was cheaper for them to import the beers from America, and then when new breweries were starting up you had the quality control and things like that was difficult. So there was a lot of things going on in Finland that just meant the craft beer market was not really growing very fast, but thankfully quite recently the government changed all the laws and it's really kicking off in Finland now. Actually, they've got a very strong home brewing culture, and as a result of that many little breweries have begun to pop up, the same as what's kind of happened in Sweden a couple of years previously actually. But for these reviews, for the Finnish reviews, a huge shout out to Riku, who sent me that lovely Finnish beer box. He's going to be my Finnish beer mule now, so I'll send him more money again next time, and we'll see about getting another box maybe in 6 months time or something. We'll see how long these Finnish beer reviews last, but he's told me he's quite happy to supply me with Finnish beer and sort that out for me, so it's absolutely awesome of you, Riku. So a huge shout out to Rico and a big thank you to him for all these lovely Finnish beers that I've now got to review. On that basis, Riku is from Oulu, and I thought it was only right that we kick off with one of his local breweries' beers, and I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. So for this review then, as I say, we're going to Oulu, which is kind of in the north of the country, but the Finnish-Swedish border is actually quite long. It's about halfway up the entire length of Finland if you look at it, and it's about an hour and a half or so to the Swedish border. But we're going to have a look at a beer from Sonnisari Panimo, and this one is the Randy, which is a West Coast IPA coming in at 6.4% ABV. Now, as I've told you before, I'm a huge fan of the West Coast IPAs. I've really missed them over the last while. Not that I have anything against the hazy New Englands, but I do miss the kind of sweeter malt bases and things that you get from these West Coast IPAs. So it's really cool to try another IPA from Finland. I think this actually might be my first. I'm pretty sure this is actually my first proper West Coast IPA from Finland actually, so this will be really interesting. The other Finnish beers that I've reviewed for you on the channel, there's only 6 of them. There was Lapin Kulta, the Sinnebrikov Porter, the Plevnan Siperia, the Prickmister Sati, I believe it was called, Salu Prickmister maybe, Vakas Suominen Panimo maybe, I can't remember. And there was also a beer from Malmgården, I think it was the Winter Warmer. And then more recently I had the Arctic IPA from the Arctic New England IPA from Tornion-Panimo, right on the Swedish-Finnish border actually. But this is only my, I guess you could say, my 3rd or 4th proper craft beer review that we're going to be doing from Finland. So quite exciting actually, and it's nice to introduce another new brewery to you guys here on the channel. So yeah, this one is the Randy West Coast IPA at 6.4% ABV from Sonnisaari Panimo in Oulu, in the kind of middle western part of Finland, if you like. I'm not sure of the different counties and stuff there, but definitely cool to introduce you to one of Riku's local breweries. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do from Sonnisari Panimo. There will be another 3 that you'll see over the next little while, so keep an eye out for those. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for the Finnish beers that I've reviewed for you, and that is going to be added to regularly now thanks to my contact with Riku, and hopefully you guys enjoy seeing that list fill up with lots of different beers. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Sonnisari Panimo then, and I do apologise if any of my Finnish pronunciations are a little bit off. Of course, it's a very difficult language, a Uric language. I think there's like 12 or 13 cases of grammar in this language, so it's just absolutely crazy, but it's a really beautiful sounding language actually. But anyway, so yeah, Sonnisari Panimo, as I mentioned to you already, are based in Oulu. They were founded back in 2014, but they started selling their beers in May of 2015, and they were apparently the first brewery in Oulu for 10 years since the Oulun brewery or brewpub shut down in the city centre. But the company was founded by Timo Kaniainen, Timo Tinisma, and also Harry Varala. So Timo K is the head brewer and the CEO of the company, and the other guys I think do take part in the brewing, but they tend to deal with the business and other side of things. So yeah, but initially they started running the brewery on the weekend, and they were working full-time jobs elsewhere. They were kind of, you know, hobby brewers that turned into professional brewers, and in the early days they were producing around 1,500 litres of beer per month, so just a very, very small operation, about 18,000 litres per year. But after the first year they expanded rapidly after opening up a share issue where people could buy shares in the brewery, and this got them a lot of investment. But this allowed them to quadruple their capacity to 14,000 litres per month and invest in new bottling equipment as well, which helped them get their beers out there into the alcohol stores. At this point Timo began to work full time with the brewery. As I say, he is the head brewer, and then Calla joined them part time in the brewing, and they now have Ollie in the brew team as well actually. But the name of this brewery, it literally means Bull Island, and apparently this could have been very different because Sonnisaari is a small island, very small island that's next to central Oulu, and it was supposed to have housed a plague hospital back in the 19th century for, you know, to keep them away from the people of the town. But apparently they were determined that the name would have a very local kind of local meaning, if you like, and this island that they have now, the Sonisaari Island, is very, very well known. But they originally had a brewery ready to set up in Topila, and it could have been very, very different, but they pulled out of this site at the last minute. And this of course left them the name. The paperwork wasn't fully signed off and things, and this allowed them to actually change the name of the brewery. So the name Sonnisaari had been previously voted by Timo T, and he'd drawn a bull logo as well and felt that this matched the idea of a heavily hopped IPA which they wanted to be their first beer. So yeah, they named it after the local island Sonnisaari, and you know, the bull logo that they have is now quite well known within the town. So yeah, these guys still remain quite a small production brewery. They're producing in the region of 200,000 litres of beer per year. From what Riku told me, that's quite significant in Finland because the tax bans for these breweries are different. As I say, Finland has liberalised their laws for artisan producers recently to help the industry grow, which I think is a very, very good idea. But apparently if they brew over 200,000 litres of beer per year, that means that they fit into a different tax ban, so it's quite unlikely, unless you know, they go through a major growth phase or something like that, that they will exceed that 200,000 litres of beer per year mark. But when I think about the breweries that you can compare that to over here in Sweden, the likes of OO Brewing, you know, I think OO brew around the 200,000 litre mark. You know, a number of the really well respected Swedish breweries are sitting around that thing too. So these guys are brewing a fair volume actually. I would guess that in Finland it's not too difficult to get a hold of these beers. You know, obviously you could order them through the Alko system and things like that, like Riku did for me with a number of the other beers. But as of April 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, according to Untappd, they've produced just under 150 different types of beer, and there's a whole host of different styles in there, from imperial stouts to sour beers, and also to you know, the IPAs, the New England IPAs, the West Coast IPAs, and things like this. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Sonnisari Panimo for the moment. I guess maybe when I probably will end up making contact with this brewery after this review publishes, I might get a bit more information to add into the brewery notes and things. We'll see how it goes. And of course, I know from my previous Finnish reviews, Finnish people go crazy with the comments, which is awesome. So I'll probably end up with a lot more information and things on these breweries as we go through the videos actually. So I look forward to the comments from the Finnish people. I've seen that. I remember when Brewdog first started up, and then they announced that they were going to have Brewdog Helsinki, and you know, the comment section on these old Brewdog pages just used to explode with Finnish people. They got very excited. It was quite funny. But yeah, the Finns are great in my experience. I've had a great experience with Finnish people before, so yeah, I really like that about Finland. I need to get there and explore a little bit. So but yeah, that's all you really need to know about Sonnisari Panimo for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. I'm really curious about this beer. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. This one, as I say, comes in at 6.4% ABV. It is a West Coast IPA, and this one is hopped with Chinook, Citra and Mosaic, and also some Amarillo. I believe that Amarillo is the one is added. I think it's Citra and Amarillo that are added in the dry hopping stage, and then it's Citra, it's Chinook, Citra and Mosaic that are added in the kettle stage. But there you can see, there is the Sonnisari. There, the bull island, the bull symbol, which is pretty cool. Plain black bottle cap on this one. This is a 330 milliliter bottle, I believe. Is it 330? Yep, 330 milliliter bottle. And yeah, this one should be really nice. So a 6.4% West Coast IPA from Oulu in Finland. So yeah, let's get this guy out then, and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really curious to see how this beer turns out. So yeah, since this is a Finnish beer review as well, you can smell the Amarillo off this right away, and the Citra. This beer, I think it smells properly old school. But yeah, since this is a Finnish review as well, a big shout out to Harri Metsuyuki, who runs Reithaus Blogi, really nice blog over there, and Jaakko Matikainen as well, who also runs Jaskan Kaljat, another Finnish beer blogger. I met these guys at the Pilsner Urquell tour when we went down there, and very, very nice guys actually. I need to make sure and connect with them the next time when I do get out to Finland to explore a little bit. But do make sure you check out their blogs, and I'll try and remember to put the links to those in the video description below, and you can check them out. I think their activities, they've mainly got their own websites, and they're also quite active on Instagram, and I think they've got Facebook pages as well, so do make sure you check out the social media for these guys too. But yeah, as you can see, this beer is poured very nicely, and the hoppy notes that are coming off this straight away are very, very nice. I'm really looking forward to trying this. So as you can see, this beer has poured a lovely kind of rich amber colour, which is exactly what you would expect for a West Coast IPA. If I hold this beer up to the light, it really is a lovely kind of medium rich amber. It's got a little bit of that haze to it, obviously kind of unfined. This is the exact appearance that you would expect of a West Coast IPA. There's obviously a good little bit of caramel and things in there to give you this lovely amber colour. You could see when the beer was poured, it had about a quarter, 1/3 head of a frothy kind of ivory coloured head, 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. But overall, it does look, it does look very, very nice actually. I like how this beer appears, but nothing overly surprising about it in terms of its appearance. It looks like a typical kind of West Coast IPA. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on with this one. I'm really curious about this beer. As I say, huge fan of the old West Coast IPAs. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, this is properly old school, this one, it really is. And this beer's a little bit nostalgic for me. I go back to, as I say, my whole thing with the American style beers, it did start with Brewdog and the Punk IPA and things like that back in, 2011, sort of, around that kind of time. And then of course I started the channel up in 2013, a little while later. And my whole thing with beer started before that with the Schlenkerla Rauch beers and stuff. So yeah, this is a properly old school smelling West Coast IPA. It's really, really nice how it goes together. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of Maris Otter in this one. There is just something about the aroma that's telling me Maris Otter as well. Yeah, so let's start with the malt base then, because that's just kind of struck me as interesting. So straight away with this beer, you get a lovely kind of white bready sort of note out. It's got a little bit of a kind of Werther's Original type quality to it in the aroma. I don't know if you get those in Finland right enough. I can't remember what sweets you get over in Finland. I think most of them had names that I didn't recognise when I was there, although I do love a bit of Carl Fraser chocolate. Absolutely love the stuff. But anyway, it does have a little bit of that kind of Werther's Original butterscotchy type aroma to it actually. So you've got the breadiness underneath, you've got a little bit of the kind of Werther's Original note on top of that, and you've got a kind of stronger, sweeter caramel in there as well. Maybe some sort of McVitie's digestive biscuit quality as well, which is interesting. But it does smell like a kind of very smooth and quite oily malt base, come to think of it. But I really like how this goes together. The aroma of this really is very, very nice. It does have a little bit of an English kind of quality to the malt base. I mean, the kind of breadiness that you get out of this, and the little bit of graininess and bread crusty note that it has. I'm pretty sure that there's Maris Otter in this. It's not American Turo. I don't think it's quite. It's not quite the same and quite as sweet as American Turo. I'm pretty sure it's Maris Otter that's in here, but I'd be really curious to know that. It could be. I think it's probably Maris Otter and a few different varieties of German malt. But yeah, you have. You've got a lovely kind of balance to the malt base there. A little bit of sweet caramel, a little bit of a biscuity note, a little bit of that kind of Werther's original kind of thing, wee bit of a bread crusty quality, some kind of smoother white bread, and it all fits together really, really quite nicely in this one. It's more of a bready leaning West Coast IPA, this one, but it has everything you'd expect from the malt base then. So in terms of the hoppy side of things, with this one, it does smell really quite nice. It's got a lovely blend of flavours. It actually comes across as quite juicy. Going from the aroma, I don't think this is going to be all that bitter, but I'd be curious to see if I'm proved wrong on that. But you've got a little bit of earthiness to this one on the green side of things. Good little bit of that kind of spicy kind of floral. It's almost got a bit of the dank notes from it. I mean, from Chinook. The thing with these hops is Chinook is always going to give you a little bit of a kind of dank piney resin. It's going to give you some nice strong grapefruit flavours as well. Citra is going to give you a lovely sort of mango-y note and a few complexities, sometimes lemon and lime, sometimes like papayas, sometimes a little bit of a kind of gooseberry lychee sort of thing. It depends what else you're mixing it with. Amarillo is a straight up oily orange, and then Mosaic is a lighter kind of juicy tangerine flavour. And I mean, in this one, the fruits for me really do lean towards the orangey side of things. That's probably why I like the aroma of this beer so much. I mean, back in the day, I absolutely loved my big oily orange IPAs. Amarillo was my favourite of the big three original hops. You know, the Simcoe, it was the Simcoe, the Citra, and the Amarillo, and it was the Amarillo that was always my favourite, to be honest. But yeah, I really like how this goes together. It's got a lovely big oily orange character. You can smell a little bit of the lighter juiciness from the Mosaic as well. There's a wee bit of mango from the Citra, right enough. You can pick up a little bit of that tropical thing, but I think there's also a little bit of a lychee kind of gooseberry type note to this beer as well. I think the Citra, the complexities from the Citra are leaning a little bit more towards that kind of juicy side of things. But the green side of the hops for me, where does this lean? You know, if I sugar it up, it has got a bit of a kind of spicy floral note to it. But I find it mainly quite grassy. I really think that this beer, it leans towards the malty side of things. It's quite a sweet smelling IPA, and it's quite it's quite oily in terms of its fruitiness as well. So that is the main kind of interesting thing about this one. So yeah, quite a nice big oily orangey and kind of sweet malty smelling West Coast IPA, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think this one is going to go down a little bit of a treat. We won't speak too soon, but let's see how this one goes then. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in, but we're going to have a taste of this one now and just see how we get on. So this one is the Randy West Coast IPA, coming in at 6.4% ABV from Sonnisaari Panimo in Oulu, in the kind of on the sort of Midwest, if you like, the northwest coast, if you can say that, of Finland. A huge thank you to Riku for setting up this box for me, and I hope that you guys watching enjoy this this new Finnish supply of beers that I have. I really look forward to these over the next couple of years. We'll need to keep this going. Slanja, skål, keepies. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. I'll say thumbs up to Sonnisaari for this one. Yeah, this is good. I like how this goes together. This one's just in quite good condition, I think, as well. Actually, we've just got this kind of in the prime. I think this has been in the bottle, I think probably about 3 weeks, something like that. Or wait, no. What has the date on it? 4th of the 3rd. So yeah, it's been in the bottle a couple of weeks more than that. It must have been in the bottle about 5 weeks or something. So yeah, it must be in the bottle about 5 weeks when we're finishing this. But it is, or filming this rather. But it still is in really nice condition. But yeah, this is nice. It gets a big thumbs up from me. My first Finnish West Coast IPA as well. But yeah, this is properly kind of old school. I'd say though that in terms of the hoppy side of things, it's not a big kind of hoppy monster. If you like, I really don't find this beer overly bitter. I mean, normally you would expect the West Coast IPAs to be, how would you say, like big kind of 70-80 hop beasts, if you like. But you know, the IPA, because of the New Englands, the IPA style has evolved a little bit, and people expect lower bitterness out of these beers now. You do get a little bit of bitterness lingering in the aftertaste of this one, but I would think this one's maybe about 50 or 60, an absolute push. It's not going to blow the head off you in terms of hops. But then again, when we think it's 6.4%, maybe the 7.2s and the, you know, the 8% double IPAs, they're the ones that would have the big high bitterness to them. And you know, it's not important that this beer is massively bitter. You want it to have a bit of bitterness so that it fits the West Coast IPA, and this beer definitely does have that. Don't get me wrong on that. But this is really quite nicely done. This is one of these ones where you can tell that it's really well crafted. It's not doing anything surprising with the style. To me, it strikes me as quite a sort of old school West Coast IPA, and more, and it's just all about how these flavours fit together. I'm not sure how old this recipe is, like when they first started producing this or anything, but it is, you know, very nice. This, so thumbs up to Sonnisaari for this one. This is a really nice introduction to the brewery, and a nice introduction to Finnish West Coast IPAs as well. So give me your Finnish West Coast IPA recommendations in the comments section below too. But yeah, this is nice. I like this. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then, and see how we get on. So straight away, you can feel that nice kind of bready malt base. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. You can feel that just forming the linchpin of the beer. On top of that, as you go further towards the back of the palate, you do get a wee bit of graininess out of this one, but as you move towards the centre of the palate, you can feel it gradually getting thicker and thicker and thicker. That kind of Werther's originally note that I was picking up in the aroma, that's not so much in the flavour itself, but as you go right into the centre of the palate, you've got a nice kind of big oily, boozy, caramelly note out of this one. At 6.4%, you know, this isn't the heaviest of West Coast IPAs that you're going to come across. Like I say, there's quite a few out there that are 7.2%, and I remember back in the day the West Coast IPAs being around that, you know, the 7.2%, and it was later on that the alcohol content was kind of taken down a little bit. So that is a fair comment about this beer as well. This is a more kind of modern strength regular IPA, to be honest. But yeah, a lot of the New Englands are sit around the 6.5% mark, so kind of fits in with that, to be honest with you. But yeah, in terms of that malt base, it's really nice. In the centre of the palate, you've got that lovely sweet kind of caramelly note out of the beer. And as you move just further out from it into the aftertaste, you start to get a wee bit more of that kind of McVitie's digestive sort of thing that I was talking about. The middle of your palate does dry out a little bit, and it feels a little bit more kind of bread crusty. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a bit of Maris Otter in this one, because it does have a little bit of that graininess you expect of English malt, particularly towards the back of the palate, and it's also just got some of those distinctive sort of biscuity, digestive type flavours that you would expect of that malt. I'd be curious to know whether I'm right or not. Maybe some of you guys in the know can tell me, but I do suspect maybe there's a bit of Maris Otter in here. But yeah, that malt base is really nice, and the slightly sweeter kind of biscuity sort of thing, it really suits the orangey side of this beer. This one, it definitely on the fruity side leans a little bit towards the orangey end of the spectrum, which is great. And I feel, you know, I'm feeling with this one now, the more I drink of it, I do get more and more bitterness out of it. So I think maybe I told you lies, maybe it's not 50 IBUs, it might be a little bit heavier than that, I don't know. But I've noticed that actually when I've been drinking West Coast IPAs. I don't notice the bitterness of these beers when I first take them in. At the moment, it really is something that really kind of builds for me as we go further into, you know, as I go further into the taste with them these days, which is quite interesting. You used to notice the bitterness of these beers straight away when you had them back in, you know, 2015 or whatever. But yeah, and I mean, if this brewery only started selling their beers in 2015, yeah, this I do wonder if this was one of the first ones that they did. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate there is a little bit of earthiness there. That'll be coming from the Mosaic, and to a degree it'll be coming from the Chinook as well. But as you come further forward along the side of the palate, you can feel it very quickly moves into that more kind of piney, resinous sort of thing. It almost has a good bit of a floral, kind of spicy, aromatic note out of it, and that I think mainly comes from the Mosaic. And then round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy. So you've got a nice lightness on the front tip of the tongue, but then you've got the floral, aromatic side of things, and the piney resins from the Chinook as well, forming the linchpin at the side of the beer. This is nice how it goes together. I like this. I do like the way the bitterness complements the other things in there as well. It gives you a good balance between the sweetness, both from the fruit and from the malty side of things. Mouthfeel of this one's quite nice as well. But yeah, in terms of the that fruity side of the beer then, as I always say, the fruity esters in the beer, they come out in that little oily bubble that you get behind the very front tip of your palate. And if you go towards the back of it, you've got a nice kind of dark grapefruity quality. That'll be coming from the Chinook. The Chinook always gives you a little bit of that darker grapefruit. Citra can give you a little bit of it as well. As you move further forward, that darker tropical fruit fades away. You get a little bit of a mangoey note out of this one, but it's quite minimal. But then as you reach the kind of front part of the palate, it's the oily Amarillo that really forms the base of the beer, and as you get right further towards the tip, you can feel those lighter, juicy kind of tangerine notes from the Mosaic in there as well. There is a few wee hints, or there are a few wee hints rather, of you know, the kind of gooseberry and sort of maybe a little bit of lychee, those very light, juicy fruits that you can sometimes get from Citra as well. I'd say it's more gooseberry than, in fairness. So yeah, but the beer, it really does lean overall towards that orangey side of thing. There is a bit of the grapefruit, as I say, at the back of that, and that kind of forms the bridge between the malty side of the beer. Because as I say, as I always say, you've got the tongue, you've got the back 2/3. So the back third of the tongue has a little bit more of the kind of grainy side of things. The middle part of the tongue has the sort of sweetness from the malt base. Then the front third of the tongue is where you get the fruitiness. So kind of at this border between the front third and the middle third, you get a little bit of that grapefruity quality there, and that's the bridge between the hops, the fruity side of the hops and the malt actually. So there is a good bit of that darker, sour, grapefruity kind of quality in there as well. But then, as I say, as you move further forward, a little bit more mangoey type flavours, then quickly into an oily orange from the Amarillo, and the juicier, lighter orange, tangerine rather, from the Mosaic. So it's really nice how this all goes together. This is to me, this is it's a very old school tasting beer, this, but it ticks a lot of the boxes for me. I love the orangey flavoured IPAs, so this one is a properly good find for me. I can't remember if Riku recommended this one to me or if I chose it. I think Riku might have recommended this one because he knew that I like a West Coast IPA, so it was a solid recommendation, this. So as I say again, a big thank you to Riku for this. But yeah, I do like how this goes together. So it gets a big thumbs up from me, this. In terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say this is a fairly mid-bodied beer, top end of mid-bodied. The carbonation is really the carbonation is quite smooth in this one, and the beer, it really does, it leans towards that oily side of things. I thought this one, with it being, I don't know how close to mountains and stuff you are in Finland. I can't remember how mountainous Finland actually is. It's more lakes. They call it the land of 1,000 lakes, or land of 1,000,000 lakes. I can't remember. But you know, I don't know how mountainous that part of Finland actually is, but the water to me strikes me as being a little bit more kind of smooth, and I would have thought at that kind of latitude, if you like, you know, you would have like the more kind of clean, crisp water that you get from the likes of North Sweden and Iceland and Norway and things like that. So it's interesting the way the water contributes to the mouthfeel of this one. It helps kind of bring out some of the oily characters of the beer, but I think overall it's fair to describe this beer as being quite an oily West Coast IPA. In terms of the hoppy bitterness, I thought initially this one was maybe about 50 IBUs. I think it might be a bit higher than that. The bitterness, I think, really does grow on you in this one. I think we're talking about 60 IBUs. Don't know if it would be more than that. 60, yeah, I'm tempted to say 60, maybe 70 at an absolute maximum, but you know, knowing me, I'll probably be wrong with that, with the bitterness. I'm always a little bit out on the bitterness, I think. But yeah, it's got a good level of bitterness to it. The bitterness, of course, depends on when you add the hops to the boil. And things like that. If you add them early on, you get a lot of bitterness. If you add them later, you get less bitterness and more flavour, blah blah blah. But yeah, and the malt base on this one has a really nice smoothness to it. It's a little bit oily as well. That helps bring out some of the juicy, fruity notes of the beer. So you've got a lovely smoothness in the malt base, a little bit of oiliness, like I said, about maybe 60-ish, 70-ish IBUs with this beer. Then you've got a lovely, oily, fruity quality to this beer that lingers into the aftertaste as well. But overall, I think it's fair to describe this one as a really very well done, old school, orangey West Coast IPA. This one ticks a lot of the boxes for me. This is a style I enjoy. I enjoy the orangey type IPAs with the, you know, the Mosaic, the Azaka, the Amarillo, Andrina Bavaria, Waiti, all of these kind of hops. Sabro these days as well. I do enjoy a lovely orangey West Coast IPA. So this is one that has ticked a few boxes for me. So big thank you to Riku once again for the recommendation, and I take my hat off to Sonnisari Panimo for pulling off a very nice beer. This is definitely a nice reintroduction to Finnish craft beer actually, and you will see a few more Sonnisari reviews over the next couple of weeks and things, so do make sure that you keep an eye out for those. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Randy, a 6.4% West Coast IPA from Sonnisari Panimo in Oulu, in the kind of on the northwestish coast of Finland. I hope you guys have enjoyed my first Finnish review in quite a wee while. As I say, you can look forward to more of these over the next weeks, and you know, I will definitely be getting a regular supply. I will be sorting this out with Riku, probably I think twice a year. Probably we will do a Finnish beer box like twice a year, and make sure we can review things there. But of course I'll take Riku's recommendations, because on the basis of the beers that he sent me, I think he really knows his stuff, so we'll see how it goes. Great to have fans like that who will organise beer boxes and let me, you know, send them money and sort it out and things like that. So yeah, great stuff. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Sonnisari Panimo as well. Do give me some other Finnish brewery recommendations. That'll always help me when I'm building these boxes with Riku, and we'll see how we can go from there. But thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon. This one was the Randy West Coast IPA, 6.4% from Sonnisari Panimo in Oulu, in the kind of northwest coast of Finland. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Slanja, Skål, Kepis, make sure you check out this beer if you want a nice oily old school orangey West Coast IPA. Cheers.